So, the Void event is well on the way, and I am cautiously optimistic. Despite the flack I've given them on this channel, I do genuinely admire the creatives at Riot Games. When they're at the best, they're capable of some really amazing stuff. When they're at their worst, however, we get Rise of the Sentinels. Now, to be fair, I don't want to blame all of that event on the writers. I'd wager corporate meddling had just as much to do with why that event turned out into the train wreck that it was, but my genuine hope is that the responses about learning from their failures of that whole debacle were more than empty words. So, with the context of Sentinels behind us, how might they handle the Void event to prevent the same mistakes of the past? Well, for starters, they've already given me one good reason to have a little faith. Rise of the Sentinels gave us a total of 4 new characters to take part in that storyline. And however you might feel about Akshan, Vex, and Gwen, let's be real, the only one they really needed was Viego. By contrast, the only new champion we're getting for this event is Bel'Veth, which means that we have more space for characters that are actually already affiliated with the Void. That being said, which champions should be included? Well, initially my roster of characters looked something like this. Kai'Sa, Kassadin, Malzahar, Talia, Zillion, Jax, The Ascended, Vel'Koz, Rek'Sai, and of course, Bel'Veth. Still a sizable cast of characters, but these were the champions that I felt were most appropriate for the event. As I'm often fond of saying, Rise of the Sentinel set its scope too high for the story it could tell. The Black Mist invading every region should have been a much bigger deal than what we got, and gotten way more characters involved and should have left a much bigger impact. However, it was handled by an army of Sentinel recruits, taking 1 per region, lasted like a week in universe, and had little to no impact on Runeterra's status quo. And really, that's the single biggest issue with League's story as a whole. Some arcs simply can't conclude. Even before the whole Sentinels of Light event started, we knew that the Ruined King couldn't actually be defeated. If we seriously got rid of Viego and purified the Shadow Isles, then all the undead characters from that region would be gone as well. Hecarim, Thresh, Kalista, Karthus. Even if League of Legends is no longer canon to its own lore, the fact remains that nobody wants their favorite champions killed off for good. We are sadly never going to see a story in which the Shadow Isles are finally freed of their curse. And by that same token, we are not going to see a story where the Void is finally defeated. At best, the invasion will be driven off and things will more or less return to normal. So, with that in mind, I've been thinking, why even bother with the pretense? As cool as it would be to see a big alliance of champions coming together to fight back in Eldritch Horror, that is like proper in-game level stuff. If Runeterra had a true final boss to defeat, it would probably be the Void, and we all know we're not getting anything quite so grandiose with this event. So, here's my suggestion. Assuming they're going to attempt another visual novel like Spirit Blossom or Rise of the Sentinels, I think I know one way we could feasibly make it work. Now, I know people hated the self-insert character of Rookie, and justifiably so. But I believe there is one way we could make it work. Here is my plot pitch for a Void event visual novel. You play as a traveler crossing through the Shriman Desert. Where you came from and where you're going aren't important. As you trek across the unforgiving sands, your caravan is attacked by Zersai. You watch in horror as the monsters devour everything in their path, and in your desperate attempt to flee, you end up falling into a massive chasm in the ground. You wake up in a strange place, surrounded by chittering sounds and an ominous purple glow. You feel sick, both mentally and physically, but there's no time to worry about that. The skittering grows louder, and soon, more Voidborn are upon you. Just as they're about to leap, however, a bolt of energy rips through the darkness, killing your assailants immediately. A lone figure emerges, looking like a humanoid version of the monsters you just encountered. Needless to say, this is Kaiza, and she'll be your primary companion throughout this adventure. After encountering Bel'Veth, perhaps she managed to escape and is struggling to stave off whatever the Empress did to her. The story I envision is not one about fighting the void, but escaping from it. You journey through the infested underground with Kaiza as you both try to help each other survive and stay sane. Though the further you go, the more ominous things become. Kaiza encounters Voidborn unlike anything she's ever seen before, and you feel the Void's influence constantly gnawing at your sanity, while a strange voice whispers in your head. This first-person narrative approach would be a fantastic way to explore the Lovecraftian horrors of the Void, having you witness firsthand your own player avatar succumbing to madness and hallucinations, with Kaiza being the only one there to help you fight off its effects. Where the story goes from here, honestly, it could take any number of directions. Perhaps you wind up encountering Kassadin at some point and get to witness the undoubtedly awkward reunion between him and Kaiza. Maybe Malzahar is down there somewhere. It doesn't ultimately matter too much, so long as they're in character. Eventually, as you struggle to escape the abyss, you find the source of it all. The one whispering in your head and spawning these new abominations. Bel'Veth. The finale, too, could take any number of turns. Maybe it's a struggle to resist her influence. Or maybe, if Riot is feeling so bold, we could end on an ominous note of our characters succumbing to the void and never seeing the light of day again. Maybe we could have alternate endings so that our choices actually matter this time around. Just a thought. Whatever the outcome, the story doesn't end with Bel'Veth or the void truly being beaten back. If nothing else, Kassadin and Kaiza can escape even if you don't. And that sets us up to continue the story arc later down the line with novellas and comics, which are honestly the best mediums to advance League of Legends stories anyways. But that's just my take on it. What do you all think? Could Riot manage this event with another visual novel format, or do you think they should take a radically different approach? Leave your thoughts down below, and I'll see you all next time.